Liable to be some extreme excitement out here tonight as tire wear is going to be an issue, fuel is going to be an issue. A lot of things will be problematic for the drivers as we go to the starting lineup. Tyler Robertson, Eddie Baker on the front row. Mason Neal and Matt Stewart have the second row. Drew Warren, Brian Mansfield on the third row. Michael White and Kevin Coleman on the fourth row. DJ Kenner and Kevin Martin round out the top 10. Matthew Hudson in 11th and Brandon Mclaughlin starting 12th. 13th will be Andrew Spears, Josh Mueller in 14th, Spencer Brown 15th, Travis Twitty in 16th, and Brian Burkhart starts 17th. Drivers starting to line up on pit road. We'll be watching the 07 of Matt Stewart closely tonight. Rumor has it he has been a bit of a troublemaker this week. All the drivers on pit road and the pace car will start rolling around this track. 1.333 miles. 14 degrees of banking in the turn, 7 degrees of banking in the trioval, 3 degrees of banking on the back straightaway. Coming out of turn 2, very easy, but you have to be careful not to push too hard, end up in that outside wall. Coming off turn 4, especially on cold tires, the car does have a tendency to get a little skittish and try and take the back end around. We saw several instances during practice of guys getting loose off turn 4, flying through the infield. So we'll see if everybody can hold on to it here tonight. Tyler and Eddie on the front row, Mason, Matt Stewart on the second row. Mason Neal in the 49 is the points leader coming into tonight. Pace car is in. Green flag is in the air. They are down and away at Nashville Super Speedway. Expect turn 1 to get really exciting on the second lap once everybody is up to speed. It is not uncommon to see 3 wide coming out of turn 2 here. Tyler Robertson holds the lead with Eddie Baker in second, Mason Neal to third, now Matt Stewart back and forth, Drew Warren in fifth, Brian Mansfield. Oh, Brian gets a little loose coming off the turn. He manages to save it, but wow, that car was way out of shape. Great save by Mansfield. Kevin Coleman right behind, up on the high line. As I believe that's Andrew Spears right below him. Looks like he might have got a little bit of a push in the middle of 1 and 2. Most of the drivers said they really like the high line on the long run, but the fastest way around is hopping down to the bottom. Tyler Robertson out front has managed to put a small gap on Eddie Baker. Top 4 single file pulling away from Drew Warren and Michael Whiting. Whiting now looking down to the bottom. DJ Kenner already up 2 spots. Started in 9th up to 7th. Mansfield, after that little bobble, took him a while to get back up to speed. He is back to 8th now. Kevin Coleman in 9th. Matthew Hudson in 10th. Andrew Spears, another car that started making his way forward. He is now up to 11th. Spencer Brown also up a couple spots, as is Brian Burkhart. Ooh. Burkhart and Mueller getting a little dicey back there. Kevin Martin way up high through 3 and 4. Oh, I think he might have got the wall. He comes down, bounces. Looks like he might have gotten the right side on Spencer Brown there. Doesn't look like it did any damage to the right side of Spencer, but yeah, that got a little bit close. Tyler Robertson still up front, has started to pull away just a little bit from Eddie Baker, but remember, it is a long race. However, tire strategy not going to be a huge issue here tonight. As we heard in pre-race, a mistake in the setup has these guys in unlimited tires tonight. Do believe that's the first time this season. That could make things very interesting. Mason Neal in third, Matt Stewart in fourth. Michael Whiting now up to fifth. DJ now up 3 spots into sixth. The Iceman cometh toward the front. Drew Warren back to seventh. Kevin Coleman into eighth. Matthew Hudson in ninth. And Brian Mansfield in 10th. Andrew Spears and Brian Burkhart. Burkhart up now 5 spots. Started in 17th, dead last, and has made his way up to 12th. Brian has said in the past, sometimes he doesn't qualify just because he likes the challenge of coming through the field, although it is a risky proposition at times at certain tracks. Burkhart to the outside, now running down. He is now up to 11th, trying to get a run on Mansfield for 10th. Back down the front straightaway they go, and Tyler Robertson continuing to extend his lead, now 1.2 seconds. And here comes Matt Stewart. Looks like he is trying to find a way around Eddie Baker. Back through 3 and 4 they go. Michael Whiting actually starting to close back in on this group, as is DJ Kenner, Drew Warren as well, staying in DJ's draft, trying to make up some positions. Burkhart now up into 10th, continuing his march toward the front. Interesting to note that Burkhart had just ran his fastest lap of the race, but still is not showing the same speed as the guys up front. However, he is much, much more consistent right now. Burkhart might be playing a little bit of tire strategy, just trying to hang on to the tires early, not pushing the car too hard, and that consistent lap time, hoping it gets him to the front. Tyler Robertson's lead now 1.3 seconds over Mason Neal. Meanwhile, Matt Stewart has gotten back past Eddie Baker. Hey, good evening, Tony. Tyler Robertson currently continues to grow that lead, excuse me. English is hard sometimes, y'all. Next time by, we're going to hop in Michael Whiting's car as he tries to run down Eddie Baker. He has consistently moved up through the field here tonight, as has Brian Burkhart. Burkhart now trying to run down that 1.2 second gap on 9th place Matthew Hudson. Michael Whiting started back in 7th, has not pushed too terribly hard, just consistent work toward the front. in the car with Michael Whiting down the front straightaway off into turn number 1. Has to get out of the throttle until the car sets up. Get out early so you can get back on throttle early and continue your march forward. Down to the bottom through 3 and 4. Back up on the throttle as quickly as possible and get on the throttle out of turn 3 earlier than you can out of turn 2. Looked like Michael Whiting had a little bobble, but now he's got to run underneath Eddie Baker. Can he get to the bottom into turn 3 and hold it? Let's see if he gets a push coming up off of turn 4. And nope, he manages to hold on to it, move Michael Whiting up to 4th. Now sets his sights on Matt Stewart in 3rd. Zachary Burgesson commented he cannot make it this week and wishing Josh Mueller good luck. Meanwhile, Tyler Robertson's lead continuing to grow. It is now 2 seconds in less than 20 laps. He continues his march toward the front. Mason Neal currently in 2nd, Stewart to 3rd, Whiting in 4th, Eddie Baker in 5th, Drew Warren back into 6th, Kevin Coleman in 7th, DJ Kinner. Now DJ gets a big run into turn 4. Just can't close the gap yet. DJ in 8th, Matthew Hudson in 9th, and look who's behind Hudson. Brian Burkhart has closed that 1.2 second gap down now and is now right behind the 9th place car. Matthew Hudson currently running in 9th place. Oh, thanks, Jeremy. As Tyler Robertson's lead starting to grow even more quickly. The gap now is 2.8 seconds, 21 laps into this race. When it's a 31 to 32 second lap, this could be a runaway for Robertson here tonight. We've seen him do it before as there's a battle on for second. Mason Neal up top, Matt Stewart battling for second place. A little bobble out of 4 from Matt, but he holds on to it. Down into 1 and 2. Looks like Matt gets the nose ahead coming through 1 and 2. Tire wear really starting to affect these guys. Oh, there's another wobble. But Matt Stewart leaves his foot on the floor and is now to second. Now Michael Whiting is looking for 3rd under Neal. Michael Whiting gets the nose in just enough. Mason Neal has to move up the track. And then as he comes up the track, he manages to clear. Eddie Baker back in 5th. Has Drew Warren right behind him now. Kevin Coleman as well. DJ Kinner kind of out there in no man's land in 8th. But right behind, Brian Burkhart continues to try and run these guys down. Started in 17th up to 9th place, has had quite a charge here tonight. Matt Stewart now gets to second. Michael Whiting did get through for third. Mason Neal now back to fourth. Mason came into tonight with a huge points lead, 43 points, looking to dominate the season. As long as he gets consistently continues to get the top 5 finishes, it might be hard to beat him. Second place in points is Brandon Mclaughlin, but Mclaughlin right now is struggling. He's back in 12th place. Josh Mueller is coming off of pit road, and I did not... Let's see what happened. It looks like Mueller just suddenly pulled off, may have just suddenly pulled off track and went to pit road. Trying to figure out what happened with Mueller here. I have no idea what happened with Mueller. He just suddenly disappeared. Might have been a connectivity issue. Not real sure. A bit of an odd situation to see one of them. See the second place car in points. Struggling here and having some sort of issue. Matt Stewart, though, having to now contend with Michael Whiting as the run goes on and tire wear becomes a bigger issue. It looks like Michael Whiting might have the slightly faster car. Mason Neal has lost touch with the leaders back in fourth. Drew Warren now in fifth. Kevin Coleman has been all over Drew Warren for quite a while. Eddie Baker has now slipped back into 7th place. He started in second. Just looks like he can't get a feel for the car here today. Tire wear, obviously an issue, and long run speed is what you need here. Eddie Baker was fast early on, but started to fall off rather quickly. Hopefully after a tire change, he can start making his way forward again. One car that has definitely got some long run speed, Brian Burkhart, who charged through the field early, has continued closing down the gap on DJ Kenner. DJ now just over 1 second ahead of him. Brian has ran down everybody tonight. We saw Mansfield trying to stay in his tire tracks. Brian Mansfield can't even keep up with Burkhart tonight. Burgesson, I have no earthly idea what happened with Mueller. I'm guessing it was either a technical glitch or lost connectivity, because he just suddenly disappeared from the track and is now almost 10 laps. Actually, he is 10 laps down. Meanwhile, Tyler Robertson continues to extend his lead, now 2.8 seconds. Michael Whiting, holy cow, Matt Stewart was out of shape. Matt Stewart comes off turn 4, trying to stay with Whiting, just almost completely lost the back end. Things definitely getting exciting as tire wear is really starting to show on some of these cars. We'll start to see guys pushing 1 and 2 and really getting loose off of turn 4, especially in a situation like Drew Warren, Kevin Coleman, as these two are trying to race either one. Whoa, Kevin gets loose. Drew Warren had it planted coming out of turn 4, but Kevin Coleman obviously struggling. Even Tyler Robertson looked like he had a little bit kick out of turn 2. Let's hop in the car with the leader and see how bad he's having to fight the wheel now. Out of turn 4. Not too bad out of 4 yet. Right on the apron, down the front straightaway, back to the outside wall, sets up for turn 1. You can hear the tires squealing, begging to be taken off that car. But no problems out of the leader so far, down the back straightaway, back into turn 3. Obviously out of the throttle far, far more than what we saw earlier in the race. And easy onto the throttle is how he's getting it done. Kevin Coleman is close back up on Drew Warren now. Down the back straightaway, Drew Warren starting to come alive even more. He drops down to the bottom, is looking for 4th from Mason Neal. Kevin Coleman is caught right back up to the group. Oh, did Coleman get a little loose again off turn 4? We just missed it, but it looks like, let's watch this 3-car battle for a couple of laps. It looks like all 3 of these cars really starting to go away. Mason Neal has been up battling at the top of the leaderboard all night long. Now starting to fade just a little bit. Drew drifts right up in front of him, inches apart. Kevin Coleman manages to take advantage of Mason Neal being on the high side. He moves up, and no problem that time out of turn 4. Kevin Coleman up to 5th. Drew Warren up to 4th. Mason Neal back to 6th. Eddie Baker in 7th, also starting to close the gap on Mason Neal. Meanwhile, Tyler Robertson, holy cow! Tyler Robertson has a massive check up there for Andrew Spears. Manages to get by cleanly, but that was huge. And just as it looked like Tyler might have been losing a little bit of time on track, he ended up losing a lot of time due to that issue. Skylar Massey cheering on the 11 car of Brian Mansfield. John Wright cheering on Mason Neal, telling Kevin, don't let Kevin Coleman show you up, Mason. So, Mason, get it in gear. Get back by Kevin Coleman. Tyler Robertson's lead now beginning to shrink the old-fashioned way. Michael Whiting is starting to close the gap. The lap car goes up to the high side, lets Michael Whiting by much easier now that he is watching for him. And Tyler Robertson has actually lapped one car already. Josh Mueller, obviously for whatever reason, several laps down. Andrew Spears going a lap down now. Kevin Martin will be the next car to go a lap down, and he is not that far ahead. If this thing stays green, we could see a whole lot of cars lose laps here tonight. Yeah, John, I agree. He needs to get up there and get back around Tyler. Stop letting Tyler run away with this one. Tyler Robertson in the lead. Michael Whiting in second. Matt Stewart in third. We're at lap 41. I would expect to see some green flag stops starting here in about 8 laps. Maybe a little bit less for 1 or 2 of the drivers that are just struggling too much, especially if the leader comes around to lap them. They're definitely going to want to go in, get some fresh tires, try and take advantage of that. It's worth noting at this point they've been out there 42 laps. Tyler Robertson's fastest lap was a 30.9. His last lap was a 32.5. So 1.6 seconds that they've lost in lap time over the course of this run. A couple of notables. Michael Whiting has only lost about 1.3 seconds worth of speed. That is how he is gaining. He has got the long run speed. Matt Stewart, roughly the same as Michael Whiting. Going back to check on Brian Burkhart, let's see. Burkhart has lost. Was not the fastest in the early going. His fastest lap was at 31.4. He's only running 32.4s right now. He has been gaining on everybody all night, but look at this. Mansfield and Kenner have closed back up to Burkhart's back bumper. Hey, thanks, John. Justin, as always, cheering on Brian DeBoss, Mansfield. Oh, looks like green flag stops are underway. Mason Neal is in. Burkhart is in. Mansfield is in. Lap 45, a little earlier than anticipated. Brandon Mclaughlin also on pit road. Should start seeing everybody else in the next lap, maybe two. They cannot afford at this track to give up that much speed on the fresh versus old tires situation. Drew Warren came to pit road this time. Michael Whiting in second has closed down the lead to 1.5 seconds now after Tyler having a 3-second lead. Matt Stewart in third, Kevin Coleman back and forth, Eddie Baker in fifth, Travis Twitty is on pit road. Now, do we see the leaders come this time? Tyler has a problem getting onto pit road, a little bit of a struggle. Michael Whiting also comes to pit road. Matt Stewart is staying out. Matt Stewart staying out, Kevin Coleman out, Eddie Baker, DJ Kenner, and Matthew Hudson. It looks like, are we seeing Matt Stewart? Yes, we are. Matt Stewart is coming to pit road. Kevin Coleman does stay out. Looks like Kevin Martin also hitting pit road. Eddie Baker and Kevin Coleman both stay out. Does the Iceman? Yes, DJ Kenner stays out. Will Matthew Hudson stay out? No. Oh, Hudson really struggling to get on the brakes into pit road. He pulls it off. Looks like 3 cars left out on track, and I guarantee you they saw some of these guys go to pit road and said, you know what, I bet there might be a caution out of this mess if I stay out a couple extra laps. Holy cow. Kevin Coleman way out of shape there. Eddie Baker staying out. DJ Kenner also still out. Michael Whiting is back out on fresh tires. Tyler Robertson out on fresh tires. Matt Stewart coming off pit road. I fully expect to see Kevin Coleman on pit road this time. Can't afford to give up any more. And wow, he stays out as much as he's struggling off turn 4. I see what he's doing. He will stop next time by. I'm willing to bet he is playing some tire strategy here. If he can make it that next lap, he can go and make this a 2-stop race. Some of these drivers might have to make it 3. The top 3 currently on old tires, and Coleman stays out another lap. Does Eddie Baker? No, Eddie Baker comes to pit road. DJ Kenner also staying out one more time. Now the guys with fresh tires are going to start charging around them. Really surprised to see these drivers staying out as long as we have. And there goes Tyler Robertson by Kevin Coleman. Kevin finally comes to pit road. Will DJ come in or will he stay out one more time to lead a lap? DJ is on pit road, drifts it into pit road, but he is going to make it. That will hand the lead back this time by to Tyler Robertson. With Michael Whiting now up in second, but 3 seconds back. Mason Neal currently in third. Matt Stewart in fourth, and Drew Warren in fifth. A third of the way through this race, and how do I say this without jinxing it? Barney the Flagman has only had to use one flag so far tonight. DJ Kenner, Kevin Coleman will have the advantage of having 5-lap fresher tires. This strategy might actually work in their favor if they can get out and maintain the lead lap. Kevin Coleman is on his way off pit road. Looks like DJ also on his way off pit road. And a bit of a shakeup in the top 10 here. Tyler Robertson in the lead now with a 3.3 second gap over Michael Whiting in second. Mason Neal right there in third. Matt Stewart in fourth. Drew Warren now up to fifth. And look at this. After pit stops, Burkhart has made his way up into sixth place. Brian Mansfield currently running in seventh. Kevin Coleman now to eighth. Eddie Baker in ninth. And Brandon Mclaughlin in 10th. DJ Kenner in 11th. We'll be watching DJ closely to see how much him and Kevin Coleman come through the field on 5-lap fresher tires. Travis Twitty back to 12th. Matthew Hudson now back in 13th. Kevin Martin in 14th. Tyler Robertson has put, it looks like, 5 cars already a lap down. Matthew Hudson, Kevin Martin, Andrew Spears, Spencer Brown, and of course Josh Mueller had the issues earlier in the race. Tyler Robertson now coming down under Spears again. Last time almost had an incident between the two of them, but it looks like Spears going to give a little bit more room. Michael Whiting now 3.1 seconds back. He is starting to close back in. Matt Stewart has gotten back by Mason Neal up to third. Mason back to fourth. Drew Warren in fifth. But the car we're watching the closest right now is Brian Burkhart, who started dead last in 17th and has marched his way up into 6th. Now he's got a fresh set of tires. He's 1.3 seconds back from Drew Warren in 5th. Watching closely to see, he is actually closing in on Drew Warren. Just not as fast as what we saw earlier in the race, but he is starting to close the gap just a little bit. Tyler Robertson way out front, 2.8 seconds. No, I say way out front. Michael Whiting now has the gap down to 2.8. He has a 2.6 second gap on Michael Whiting. Or on Matt Stewart, excuse me. Mason Neal back in fourth. Drew Warren in fifth. It looks like a lot of the field really starting to spread out. Brian Burkhart is closing in a lot quicker on Drew Warren now, down to 1.1 seconds. Kevin Coleman back in 7th. Eddie Baker in 8th. Brian Mansfield in 9th. And DJ Kenner in 10th. Brendan Mclaughlin in 11th. And I have such a love-hate relationship with Camel paint schemes. Robertson has started to extend his lead. It's back over 3 seconds. It looked like he just had a couple of bad laps in there. Michael Whiting now coming by Andrew Spears. Quick look. Tyler Robertson is just a couple of seconds. In fact, if we dial up his in-car camera, there is his next target. Travis Twitty, who's currently running in 12th place, is the next car that will go a lap down if he continues his march. Kevin Coleman came out of pit road in 8th place. Remember, him and DJ came in 5 laps later than everybody else. And Coleman already up to 7th. DJ back up to 10th. Each of them has picked up a spot. The long run will tell if that tire strategy plays out. Almost everybody came in on lap 44, from between 44 and 47. Kevin Coleman came down on lap 51, as did DJ Kenner. And it looks like Mueller has dropped out of the race. Bit of a heartbreak. Hopefully we'll get an update at some point as to what happened to him. Did not see any incidents, wrecks, or anything involving him. Oh, we do have to talk about the elephant in the room, which is Tyler Robertson is driving the wrong paint scheme on the 24. It should be the old school DuPont with flames. Just saying. Michael Whiting started in 7th. He is currently up into 2nd place. Matt Stewart started in 4th, has been in the top 3 most of the race. Mason Neal started in 3rd, back to 4th. Drew Warren has been pretty consistent around 5th place. Started in 5th, lost a couple positions here and there, but has managed to get himself back into 5th. Brian Burkhart, definitely the hardest charger here tonight. Started back in 17th, already up into 6th. He was starting to gain on Drew Warren there for a little bit, but has now lost a little bit of time. Now 2.2 seconds behind Drew Warren. Kevin Coleman already starting to close back in on Burkhart as well. He started in 8th, up to 7th after that later pit stop. Eddie Baker started 2nd, has drifted back into 8th place. Looks like after that pit stop, he has gotten something figured out. He is starting to make his way forward again. Brian DeBoss Mansfield currently running in 9th place. Started in 6th, had some issues early on, got loose out of a turn, had an epic save, but lost momentum for a couple of laps and lost some positions. DJ Kenner, the other driver who made that later pit stop, currently running in 10th after coming off pit road in 11th. Brandon Mclaughlin currently in 11th after starting 12th. Haven't talked about Travis Twitty much. He started in 16th, currently up to 12th. Actually gaining a little bit on Mclaughlin, but he is 7 seconds behind him. And Tyler Robertson is right behind him, so it looks like Travis Twitty might end up going a lap down here. Brendan McLaughlin, not that about 7 seconds ahead. We'll see if the leader can get up there and lap him as well. Michael Whiting having another great run in 2nd place. Just looking at his lap times, he and Matt Stewart have some almost identical lap times for the whole race tonight. They're not the 2 fastest on the race, but they're they're 2 of the most consistent. And last time by, Michael Whiting was 0.2 of a second faster than our leader, Tyler Robertson. Matt Stewart currently in third, Mason Neal in fourth, Drew Warren up to fifth now. Kevin Coleman coming by, he's going to move up into sixth, Burkhart in seventh right behind him. Burkhart down to the apron. That does wear the tires a bit more when you drop down to that apron, despite the fact that the front straightaway only has 7 degrees of banking. That little bit upsets the car and puts a little extra wear on those tires. Doesn't seem to be bothering him a bit at all tonight. Burkhart now just 9/10 of a second behind Kevin Coleman, but Kevin Coleman does have the fresher tires. DJ Kenner back in 10th, also on 5-lap fresher tires, is 1.5 seconds behind Brian Mansfield. Tyler Robertson's lead is fluctuating quite a bit. I'm guessing just due to lap traffic as he has to navigate his way through lap traffic. His lead only about 2.1 seconds right now. And Tony Stevens out here cheering on Travis Twitty. Travis currently in 12th place. Started in 16th, picked up some spots early on, but has struggled on the long run here tonight. Hopefully he'll be able to make up some ground when they come back in for their final stop. Which does raise the question, the guys that stopped at lap 45, are they going to single stop this, or are they going to make 2 more stops here tonight? Fuel mileage, they should be able to go the distance on 1 more stop, but giving up that much time and with the tire wear, the extra few laps that they're going to have over guys like DJ Kenner and Kevin Coleman could be problematic. Coleman now up into 6th. He has not struggled as much as we saw. Oh, Wes said that, and then he got really wobbly as he comes back up off the apron. Manages to hold on to it, but I'm surprised to see Kevin down there using the apron for the extra speed. As much as he struggled during that first run, as loose as we saw that car get on multiple occasions. But he is starting to run down Drew Warren. The gap now 1.4 seconds. Warren just behind Mason Neal now. Matt Stewart in third has started gaining just a little bit. He had fallen 3 seconds behind Michael Whiting, now starting to gain just a little bit here and there. And it looks like everybody on this second run has decided to send it to the apron every lap on the front stretch. Michael Whiting in second, that gap to the lead still hanging around 2 seconds. Caution! The first caution of the race comes at the halfway point. And it looks like Andrew Spear, holy cow. And yeah, so that happened. Let's see if he got the wall. Usually that is precipitated. Yeah, it does look like he gets into the wall. He was hopping up to the high side to let the lead lap cars by. Gets too much of the wall there. Almost saves it a couple of times. Great attempt at the save by Andrew Spears. Tyler Robertson is going to lead everybody to pit road. And the pit strategy just kind of went out the window here. Okay, so we have an update on Mueller. The issue that took him out of the race, his PC died. Sorry to hear that, Josh. I didn't know what happened. You just suddenly were gone from the race, buddy. Don't see our leader available. However, the driver I want to talk to as he comes off pit road, Michael Whiting and Matt Stewart, a drag race off pit road, but Tyler Robertson comes off with the lead. Let's see if we can get a word with the 07 driver. Hey, Matt, this is Doug. You got me?
Dougie, what's up?
Hey, well, first off, you've had a great run so far, but it seems like you have the long run speed, not a lot early on. Are you going to be able to do anything with Michael Whiting and Tyler Robertson here? Can you hang with them till your car comes in?
I'll do my best. I'm definitely more of a long run type of guy, so if this stays green, I feel pretty good about catching Tyler. I was gaining on him that last run, so...
Well, the other important question is, my understanding is tonight you came here to wreck cars and chew bubblegum, and you ran out of bubblegum. So are we going to see you wrecking some cars like right after the checkers tonight?
You know how I roll.
All right, man. Good luck. Hopefully we'll be talking to you in Victory Lane, buddy.
Thanks, Doug.
All right, Matt Stewart, he said he's got the long run speed. Can he get it into Victory Lane with that? He was gaining on Michael Whiting and Tyler Robertson. Brian Burkhart comes off pit road in 8th place. It looks like they're going to stack up and get the one to go this time. Burkhart has had an epic run here tonight. He has been up and down. If they don't get the one to go, we're going to... What in the world? Let's see. Something just happened to Matthew Hudson. Looks like he is coming up off of pit road. Oh, I think he might have clipped the grass on the outside. Ends up having to come to a stop, gets towed to pit road. They do get the one to go. If we get another caution, we'll talk to Burkhart. In the meantime, it is time to go racing again. Just past the halfway point, Tyler Robertson and Michael Whiting on the front row. Matt Stewart, Drew Warren have the second row. Mason Neal, Eddie Baker on the third. Kevin Coleman, Brian Burkhart have the fourth row. DJ Kenner and Brian DeBoss Mansfield rounding out the top 10. Hey, thank you, Ryan. You rock, buddy. Pace car about to drop in as they come out of turn 4. Waiting for Barney, the flagman, to drop the green flag here. There it is. Green flag in the air. 70 laps to go. Wow. Looks like Tyler might have had a little bit of problem on the launch. Matt Stewart's got to run. Looked like Tyler might have just slammed the foot down on the gas and it just tweaked a little bit on him and got it pointed downhill for a moment. He managed to save it, but a little bit of a struggle. Matt Stewart now to second. Michael Whiting in third. Mason Neal in fourth. Drew Warren now in fifth. Eddie Baker is sixth. Kevin Coleman seventh. Brian Burkhart is eighth and now up in the field. But look who is below him. DJ the Iceman Kenner. Iceman now up to eighth, but Burkhart is staying with him. And it is getting really dicey right in front of them. They go single file for the moment, but these guys really pushing it out at 1 and 2. They know they're going to have to make at least one more stop here. So everybody kind of on the same strategy here tonight. 75 laps, caution free, before the first one dropped. An impressive run at this track. Matt Stewart just set the fastest lap of the race. He ran out of bubblegum. Kevin Martin has gone off track. Let's see what happened. Out of turn 4, I bet he gets loose. No, he pushes up into the outside wall. Goes through the grass, manages to hold on to the car, gets it. Wow. Great save by Kevin Martin. When he came back up on track, it got a little sketchy. For the first time tonight, Tyler Robertson's got a mirror full of a car. Driven by Matt Stewart, who is now right on the back bumper. And Matt Stewart has had the advantage on the long run all night tonight. Eddie Baker and Drew Warren have been going back and forth, as has Kevin Coleman. Let's go back just a hair and watch this battle between Eddie Baker in the 29, Drew Warren down there on the bottom. Eddie to the high side, sends it into turn 1 really deep, but Drew Warren manages to pull back ahead. Then Eddie gets the run down the back straightaway into turn 3, draws even with him. Drives it deep into turn 3. Manages to hold that thing just barely. I think DJ got in the wall. Let's watch DJ. Yes, DJ Kenner did get into the wall. Great avoidance by Brian Burkhart, not getting into him. And DJ Kenner has lost several spots now, has dropped all the way back into 10th. Matt Stewart currently staying within half a second of Tyler Robertson. Michael Whiting now back to 3rd. Mason Neal in 4th. Eddie Baker in 5th. They are starting to sort out single file for the long run here with Kevin Coleman in 6th. Drew Warren now in 7th. Brian Burkhart back up into 8th. 9th is Brian Mansfield. DJ Kenner back to 10th. Let's see if we can get a closer look at the right side of DJ Kenner's car and just see how much damage he took when he hit the wall out of turn 4. Looks like significant damage on the right front. Definitely, that right front is pushed in all around the right front tire. Right behind it has a severe dent in the fender. Tyler Robertson out front. Michael Whiting starting to close back in on Matt Stewart. Matt Stewart has managed to maintain within half a second of Tyler Robertson, and Matt Stewart and right behind him Michael Whiting have been faster than Tyler Robertson on the long run. They got the green flag at lap 80, so we should see in about another 10 laps or so, should start seeing these two coming toward the front. Another driver back here that has been faster on the long run, has been faster throughout the run if we're honest, Ryan Burkhart. Normally we'd be talking about DJ Kenner marching his way forward, but with that damage, I don't think he'll be as fast. He'll probably struggle to hold on to that top 10. Brandon Mclaughlin in 11th. Travis Twitty now back on the lead lap in 12th. Kevin Martin currently the first car, one lap down in 13th. Eddie Baker currently running 5th after starting in 2nd. He has been back and forth all night. Battled a little bit with Kevin Coleman, has had a couple of battles throughout the race, but really just holding on to that top 5 spot for the moment. Kevin Coleman has had an exciting night, if nothing else. That first run really struggled off turn 4. We saw the car get loose multiple times. He has obviously found something to counteract that and has picked up the pace, now up into 6th. Brian Mansfield, we also saw very early in the race, that car was completely out of shape and he managed to hold on to it, had one heck of an epic save. Now Burkhart, though, has been the man on the move all night long. The only time he has lost position tonight has been on pit road. Looks like his pit crew let him down big time on that last stop. He had one of the slowest pit stops in the field. Mansfield now starting to look under Burkhart. Burkhart couldn't get the run on Drew Warren. And I think Eddie Baker might be starting as Kevin Coleman now comes by into 5th and Eddie Baker back to 6th. I think Eddie might be struggling with the handling of that car. It looked like he had a little wiggle off turn 4 last time. Robertson has now extended his lead over Michael Whiting to 1 second as Matt Stewart goes back to 3rd. Let's see that pass for 2nd. Off turn 4, Michael Whiting gets a run, drops down to the bottom of the track, doesn't use the apron though, sends it deep into turn 1. Matt Stewart tries to fight back up on the high side, can't get there, and just drops back into the draft. Oh, Tyler Robertson way close to the wall that time. Next time by, they will have 50 laps to go. Michael Whiting in 2nd, 1.2 seconds back. Matt Stewart, 0.8 of a second back from him. Mason Neal in 4th, also 0.8 of a second back. Kevin Coleman in 5th. Eddie Baker, Drew Warren, Brian Burkhart, Brian Mansfield, and DJ Kenner round out the top 10. Kenner starting to lose ground, something we do not see here very often. And it looks like Mansfield is starting to come alive. We saw him try and get under Burkhart a few laps ago. 50 laps to go from the Nashville Superspeedway. Don't forget, immediately following this race, we will have the Nowski Nation Retro Truck Series. Tonight coming to you from Michigan. That promises to be an exciting race. Michigan in trucks is always an epic, fun race to watch. 3 and 4 wide through 1 and 2. 2 and 3 wide through 3 and 4. Currently only 12 cars left on the lead lap. Travis Twitty currently the last car on the lead lap. Right in front of him, Andrew Spears currently running in 15th. Travis Twitty was the lucky dog under the caution. Brendan Mclaughlin in 11th. DJ Kenner continues slipping backwards. Now that he has that right side damage, he is 1.1 seconds behind Brian Mansfield. Brandon McLaughlin is actually closing in on him. Oh, DJ's going to pit road. Everybody can make it from here, so we might see a lot of stops here in just a moment. Brendan McLaughlin currently second in points, running 10th on track. Now it's a question of who comes to pit road when. Pit strategy about to become key here tonight. I'm guessing most of these drivers... Oh, Brian Burkhart is on pit road. I expected to see most of these drivers about lap 115 to 120. That'll be the halfway point of this run. Travis Twitty on pit road. That way they would get equal use of their tires and have good tires the longest. That would be probably the best tire strategy. Especially for guys that aren't really good at long runs. That is going to be their best way to do it. Michael Whiting and Matt Stewart, Brian Mansfield, all coming to pit road, but it looks like everybody's going to come. Mason Neal now in second, Coleman in third, Drew Warren in fourth, Eddie Baker in fifth, Brendan McLaughlin now up to sixth. These guys that stay out, they have to hope that they get a caution. A well-timed caution could really help. Could leave several more drivers a lap down. Michael Whiting, Matt Stewart on their way off pit road. Brian Mansfield will be back off momentarily. 6 cars on the lead lap. Now Brandon McLaughlin in 6th. Coming into this race, we knew there was a mistake on the race setup, so unlimited tires were available. Eddie Baker and Brendan McLaughlin on pit road. We didn't think tire strategy would be an issue here tonight. Obviously, it just became one. Tyler Robertson's last lap at 32.28. We'll watch and see what Michael Whiting's, he was the first one off pit road. We'll see what his next lap time is. Michael Whiting comes across the line. He ran a 31.21, so exactly a second faster than Tyler Robertson. But if Robertson can hold off just a little bit longer, he could have the freshest tires at the latest point in the run. Still 4 drivers have not been to pit road. Tyler Robertson, Kevin Coleman, Mason Neal, and Drew Warren. And since lap 50, since Kevin Coleman's first pit stop, that his race has really turned around. That first 50 laps, he was really struggling. The car was all over the place, especially off turn 4. Here he is now later in the race and really starting to make his move. Michael Whiting just ran the fastest lap of the race. Michael currently in 5th with Matt Stewart in 6th. The top 4 still have to come to pit road, but have not yet. And currently only 4 cars on the lead lap. But Michael Whiting is working his way forward. He's got the 4th place car of Drew Warren not far ahead. If he can get himself unlapped before these top 4 go to pit road, that might be the best strategy of the night. Time will tell. There is also the question of when does Tyler Robertson come to pit road? If he comes in 3 more laps, he will have been out there 10 laps longer than everybody else. He will have split the final run evenly. Same with Kevin Coleman, Mason Neal, and Drew Warren. And Drew Warren, now Michael Whiting right to the back bumper. Michael Whiting still a lap behind these guys. Trying to force his way back toward the front, unlap himself before they come to pit road. That'd give him a huge advantage late in the race. Expect to see the top 4 hitting pit road in the next couple of laps. Meanwhile, Michael Whiting has come past Drew Warren and Mason Neal. Now trying to run down the leader. Kevin Coleman will be his next target. Kevin currently in second, 1.7 seconds behind the leader. Should see Tyler Robertson hit pit road. That little bit of cloud might have cooled the track off just a little bit. Expect to see Tyler Robertson anytime now. Same with the 3 behind it. Holy cow! Matt Stewart, you just saw the difference in fresh tires versus old tires. And Matt Stewart had a massive run off of turn 4, flew right back by Kevin Coleman. Drew Warren now come battling Mason Neal for 3rd. Kevin Coleman currently in 2nd. There is the leader in the 24. And there is the 5th place car of Michael Whiting, who has successfully unlapped himself. He brings Matt Stewart with him. Last time by, the leader ran a 32.3. Michael Whiting ran a 31.4. And yet Tyler Robertson is still staying out. He has not come to pit road. Really surprised none of the top 4 have hit pit road yet. As Eddie Baker in 7th place, now unlapping himself. And Kevin Coleman, with all these cars coming by, he is starting to gain on the leader. Next time by, it'll be 30 to go for Tyler Robertson. He still has to make a stop. And the leader is on pit road. Kevin Coleman gives up 2nd. Drew Warren and Mason Neal both stay out. They will have the freshest tires when they come off pit road. The question is, can they get off quickly enough to make this late stop work? Michael Whiting currently coming out of turn 4. Both drivers just hit their pit stalls. Michael Whiting goes past both of them. Mason Neal and Drew Warren are now on pit road. Tyler Robertson is on his way off pit road. Kevin Coleman is on his way. Once those two come off pit road, green flag stops will be completed. We won't see anybody back on pit road unless there is a caution. Michael Whiting now to the lead. Matt Stewart to second. Eddie Baker now back up in third. Brian Burkhart continues his march forward. He is up to fourth. His pit crew definitely helped him out on this one. Eddie Baker may have taken right side tires only. It does look like Eddie Baker took right sides only on this last stop to pick up some positions. Tyler Robertson just ran the fastest lap of the race. Kevin Coleman staying right there with him. Tyler currently in 8th place. He is 11 and a half seconds, out of the lead. But with his fastest lap, he was 0.8 of a second faster than Michael Whiting. He's got a long way to go and just over 25 laps to get there. Robertson needs to gain roughly half a second a lap. Robertson now gets by Brendan Mclaughlin for 7th, sets his sights on DJ Kenner, 1.3 seconds ahead. DJ Kenner, after getting his repairs and being one of the first to pit road, now up into 6th. Brian Mansfield now has cracked the top 5 for the first time tonight. But Burkhart up to 4th after starting in 17th. Eddie Baker back up in the top 3. Matt Stewart in 2nd. Matt has been in 2nd most of the night, regardless of who the leader has been. He has been in the top 3 all night long. And Michael Whiting out front has a 1 second lead right now. Tyler Robertson and Kevin Coleman are flying through this field. Robertson gets around DJ Kenner, now to the high side on Mansfield. Kevin Coleman back in 8th. Gets by Mclaughlin. Now he's going to set his sights on DJ and Brian. Meanwhile, Tyler Robertson has a 2.9 second gap to close on Brian Burkhart. Burkhart up in 4th, trying to close down a 4 second gap on Eddie Baker in 3rd. And Michael Whiting starting to pull away from 2nd place. Matt Stewart is leading now 1.3 seconds with 24 laps now to go. Kevin Martin just came to pit road. Michael Whiting continuing to extend his lead. Tyler Robertson continuing to run people down. He is now 0.8 of a second behind Brian Burkhart. And he is flying up to Burkhart. Tyler Robertson's tires 16 laps fresher than the leaders. Kevin Coleman has also made his way up into 6th now. Robertson now looking for 5th from Brian Burkhart. Oh, it gets a little sketchy off into turn 1. Couple of very close calls there. Now Robertson down to the bottom. Robertson comes by, takes 4th place. Now has 4.2 seconds to Eddie Baker in 3rd. 21 laps to go. How many more cars can Tyler Robertson pick off? Coleman now starting to close in on Burkhart as well. Tyler Robertson now just 6 seconds behind the leader. When he came off pit road, he was about 12 seconds behind. He has chopped that in half. Eddie Baker in 3rd, sees the gap behind him closing. It is now down to 2.8 seconds. Michael Whiting trying to pull away from the field as much as possible. Tyler Robertson less than 5 seconds behind the leader now. Matt Stewart in 2nd. Eddie Baker in 3rd. The question's going to be how hard Tyler Robertson has to fight to pick off positions from here. Michael Whiting's lead 1.6 seconds over Matt Stewart in 2nd. Eddie Baker in 3rd is now 1.3 seconds back from Matt. Tyler Robertson 1.2 seconds back and gaining. Last time by Tyler Robertson, 0.6 of a second faster than the leader. Remember, Kevin Coleman still back here lurking as well, 1.9 seconds behind. He picks off the same cars that Tyler Robertson does just a few laps later. Oh, Michael Whiting gets a little loose off turn 2. Tire wear really starting to show as these guys are pushing extremely hard late in the race. Michael Whiting's lead over Matt Stewart has grown to 2.25 seconds as they get 15 laps to go. The big question now, as Tyler Robertson has gotten past Eddie Baker. He is less than a second behind Matt Stewart now. Kevin Coleman not far behind either. Can both of them make it up to the front? Robertson continuing to close the gap. It is now half a second on Matt Stewart. The gap to the leader now 2.8 seconds. Down the back straightaway, Tyler starting to really close up. He beats him in the turn every time. Robertson looking for a line on Stewart here. Hasn't been able to find one yet. Well, it looks like Matt Stewart might have saved a little something for him. But no, Tyler gets the nose in but has to check up. Matt Stewart definitely not making it easy. Off turn 2. It'll be a drag race down the back straightaway, but Tyler Robertson has the advantage. Off into turn 3, Tyler Robertson goes to second. Matt Stewart now back to third. Kevin Coleman in fourth, also closing in. Looks like the strategy by Kevin Coleman and Tyler Robertson paying off here late in the race. Brandon Mclaughlin is on pit road. Brendan McLaughlin gave up about 11th place. He is on his way back off pit road. Michael Whiting's lead 2.6 seconds over Tyler Robertson. Kevin Coleman now to third. He gets under Matt Stewart off of turn 4. He's going to clear. Oh, Stewart almost gets the wall. Can Michael Whiting hold him off for 10 more laps? Michael Whiting does have lap traffic ahead. Looks like Andrew Spears just ahead will come into play here as well. Could Tyler Robertson's tires have finally equalized? He is not gaining on Michael Whiting like he was the others a few moments ago. The gap holding at 2.4 seconds. Kevin Coleman back in third, right on the back bumper of Tyler Robertson. Matt Stewart in fourth has not lost. He's only lost about 9/10 of a second since they came back around him, and he's still got a 1.4 second lead over Eddie Baker in fifth. Michael Whiting now into lap traffic. Andrew Spears jumps to the high side. Michael Whiting able to use his draft down the back straightaway. Gets by him coming out of turn 4. Kevin Coleman just came by for second place. Did Tyler Robertson have a problem here, or was Coleman just faster? Robertson up high. Coleman has the nose underneath. Down the back straightaway, Coleman gets it and clears him. Now Kevin Coleman to second is already pulling away from Tyler Robertson in third, and believe it or not, running down Michael Whiting. The gap now 2.1 seconds and closing. Does Coleman in 6 laps have enough time? Hey, good evening, Jason. Still the wrong race, buddy. Michael Whiting's gap continues to close. It's now 2 seconds. Coleman in second, doing everything he can to close that gap down. Five laps to go for Michael Whiting. That 2 second lead, he managed to regain some of it. Coleman closed down a quarter second that lap, but only 4 laps to go. Will the lap car actually help him here draft up a little bit more? Coleman has started closing the gap down, but it is still 1.7 seconds. Michael Whiting has 3 laps to go. Kevin Coleman having to fight the lap car of Andrew Spears just a little bit more here. Tyler Robertson back in third, has not been able to gain any ground. In fact, the gap to second place Kevin Coleman now just over a second. Matt Stewart has held on to fourth. Mason Neal back in fifth. But coming out of turn 4, Michael Whiting is going to get the white flag at Nashville Superspeedway. White flag is in the air for Michael Whiting. Kevin Coleman 1.5 seconds back. He needs Michael Whiting to make a mistake. Michael has not made a mistake this whole race. Out through 3 and 4, Michael Whiting comes out of turn 4. Lap traffic not going to be an issue. Michael Whiting wins at Nashville Superspeedway. Kevin Coleman comes home second. Tyler Robertson pulls off third. Matt Stewart manages to come home in fourth. Mason Neal in fifth. And we will start interviewing drivers. First off, we'll look for third place, Tyler Robertson. Who appears to be unavailable, so we'll see if we can find Kevin Coleman. I actually don't have Kevin Coleman available, but since Matt Stewart's out causing chaos, hey Matt, this is Doug. You got me?
Yeah.
You wrecked a few cars after the checkered flag, buddy, and ended up upside down on the pit wall.
That's the plan.
Well, it definitely worked, man. It looked like you had a top 3 car there for a moment, but that tire strategy by Coleman and Robertson just kind of got you.
Yeah, they were just too fast. I wish I would have stayed with their pit strategy, but it was worth a shot.
Well, it was definitely a great run, and obviously the chaos post-race was definitely entertaining. I hope you don't get in trouble for it.
I hope not. That's the best part.
I know, right? All right, man. Good job tonight.
Thanks, Doug.
And it does look like Tyler Robertson is now available. Hey, Tyler, this is Doug. You got me? And we lost Tyler. Let's see if we can get our winner. Hey, Mike, this is Doug. You got me?
Hey, Doug, I do.
Hey, man, congratulations. That was, I think you might have driven the perfect race. No mistakes the whole race.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, I knew we could run with Tyler. We just not right off. He had more short short distance speed, and we just tried to stay with him, and it just didn't work out there early. And so we just decided to change it up and try to short pit and see what we got.
Well, it definitely worked tonight, and a bit of a surprise seeing the short pit work out, considering how the last part of the race with Kevin Coleman and Tyler Robertson went. But once you saw Kevin closing the gap, did you get a little worried there that last 10 laps?
Well, I was watching the times, and I knew that I had a pretty good cushion, and those guys must have, I mean, I know Tyler was going hard. He was running the fastest laps of the race in that last run. So I knew that Kevin must have been going just as hard. So we're just hoping that it would all even out, and it did. So it worked out.
Well, it definitely did, man. Congratulations. That was a great, great win tonight, buddy.
Thank you, Doug. It was a lot of fun.
All right. Now, stick around. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment. We have got the Nowski Nation Retro Truck Series coming to you tonight from Michigan. That's going to be an epic one you don't want to miss. Don't go anywhere.